Welcome to Living History Channel. Be sure to subscribe and like so you don't miss out on more videos like this one.
This photograph captures a forgotten moment of circus history, where human difference became spectacle, revealing a past shaped by curiosity, exploitation, and the will to survive. Claims that enhanced Titanic photos show ghosts or hidden warnings are false. Archival analysis finds no evidence of pre-existing catastrophe. A known coal bunker fire was managed and did not sink the ship. The loss resulted from iceberg damage and design limits, not a cover-up. Captured in 1939, Paul Chris, the spectacular Axeman, calmly shaves a man with the perfect axe, turning a risky stunt into living proof of precision, confidence, and American manufacturing bravado. Released in 1927, Fritz Lang's Metropolis redefined cinema with monumental sets and thousands of performers, shaping the visual language of science fiction and standing as a pinnacle of European film history. Captured in 1928, Antonin Artaud appears in The Passion of Joan of Arc, his intense gaze amplifying Carl Theodor Dreyer's stark vision of faith, suffering, and the raw power of human emotion. Painted in 1944, Rockwell's Armchair General shows a father anxiously listening to war news, 3 blue stars marking sons overseas, quietly capturing the weight of waiting before D-Day. Taken on the Eastern Front in 1942, a German soldier watches a kitten play with an MG-34 belt, a fleeting moment of innocence amid the brutal machinery and silence of war. Leslie West built a sound so heavy it reshaped hard rock. That volume damaged his body, but not his will. Even after illness and amputation, he kept playing, proving resilience can outlast fame and pain. Sean Connery and Claudine Auger embody classic Bond elegance in Thunderball, 1965. A moment when glamour, danger, and Cold War fantasy merged into the definitive image of 1960s cinema. In 1982, northern Indiana, laid-off steel families were helped by a bitter fundraiser. For $1, people swung sledgehammers at a Japanese car, venting frustration as U.S. industries struggled against foreign competition. Trento, 1916. Fabio Filzi faced execution not as a traitor, but as a man loyal to an idea. The empire meant to erase him. Instead, a photograph preserved his calm, his resolve, and a conviction stronger than death. The Tuskegee Airmen flew into war carrying more than bombs and fuel. Facing racism, outdated planes, and doubt, they proved skill and courage in the skies, defending freedom abroad while fighting injustice at home. Born in 1915, Jan Baraszkomski survived Auschwitz, escape, recapture, and multiple camps. An artist turned prisoner, he later transformed trauma into drawings, preserving memory when words were not enough. American servicemen pause for a shared meal with local women in a Washington, D.C. tavern, circa 1917. In wartime shadows, laughter, food, and brief companionship offer a moment of normal life before history moves on. Hidden beneath layers of prosthetics, Warwick Davis vanished into Griphook, the goblin of Harry Potter. Hours of makeup erased the actor, leaving only character, proof of dedication behind fantasy. Born this day, 1970. Captured in 1887, Dom Pedro II stands beside Empress Teresa Cristina, with their grandson, Pedro Augusto, between them. A quiet family moment taken as Brazil's empire approached its final years. London, 1877. Italian street musicians play for passers-by, their songs echoing through crowded streets. Music becomes livelihood, culture, and connection in a foreign city alive with sound. Cuba, 1952. Ernest Hemingway stands at Finca Vigia before a 1929 portrait of himself, confronting the younger writer he once was, as time, fame, and memory quietly share the same room. Bolshoi Theater, Moscow, 1963. Little swans pause between rehearsals, small bodies resting in silence, where discipline, childhood, and ballet meet before the music calls them back to perfection. March 1944, Eastern Europe. Wartime stories often grew into legends. This dramatic tale has no verified historical record, yet it reflects the real courage of countless resistance fighters whose true bravery rarely carried names or photographs. Elvis Presley with Bob Neal, circa 1955. Before global fame, Neal guided his earliest steps. In 1956, he stepped aside, making room for Colonel Parker, whose control reshaped Elvis into an icon. Some 19th century sources note free black men present in Confederate militias early in the war, often in labor or auxiliary roles. The subject remains debated, reminding us how complex and contested Civil War history truly is. Once thought to be the scene of a Roman massacre, Maiden Castle is now seen as a hill fort in decline before Rome arrived. Injured burials reflect local Iron Age violence over time, not a single invasion. Born in 1846, Buffalo Bill Cody rose from frontier hardship to global fame, turning hunting, scouting, and legend into the Wild West show, shaping how the world imagined the American frontier forever. Captured in 1988, a young Matthew McConaughey stands beside his prom date, both crowned Most Handsome and Most Beautiful, a quiet glimpse of confidence and charisma before fame ever arrived. Circa 1863, the officers of the Floyd Riflemen stand in camp, lieutenants and captain aligned in quiet authority, their uniforms and weapons reflecting discipline, duty, and the long uncertainty of war. From camp, he writes of torn clothes and lost blankets, grateful simply to be alive. Comrades are gone, sick, wounded, killed. Yet he endures, thankful to Providence, hoping the war might end before more blood is taken. Standing in Dealey Plaza, the tests revisit 1963 with fresh eyes. Careful measurements and calm discussion aim not to rewrite history, but to understand it, separating memory, myth, and measurable fact. Here rests Lieutenant Colonel James Richard Crenshaw, Virginia commissary and logistic mind of the Confederacy. From Richmond Mills to Nassau blockades, his war was fought with supplies, ships, and survival. After the brutal air battle of August 17, 1943, the 8th Air Force withdrew for weeks. For JG-50, the skies fell quiet. Lieutenant Gottfried Weihwaster rests beside his Bf 109 G5. War briefly paused. We remember that Robert E. Lee was offered command of Union forces by President Lincoln. He declined, choosing loyalty to Virginia and family over the Union, a decision that shaped the Civil War's course. High above New York Harbor, steeplejacks balanced on steel beams as they removed the Statue of Liberty's spiked crown, preparing the aging symbol for renewal before the 1939 World's Fair. Wounded and bleeding, Jack Hayes stayed in the saddle as Comanche war cries closed in. Outnumbered and with no retreat, he chose endurance over surrender, proving how frontier leadership was forged in motion. Political Commissar Alexei Yeremenko rises from cover and urges his men forward under fire in Ukraine, July 1942. The moment captures leadership born in desperation, where words, courage, and motion become weapons. The Veil of Tears, painted in 1883, shows suffering humanity drawn toward Christ's distant light. Doré created it after his mother's death, finishing the work shortly before his own, turning grief into faith. Orson Welles, filmed in 1970 during The Deep, stands between ambition and isolation, directing himself at sea, chasing a vision that would remain unfinished, suspended like the waves around him. On January 27, 1945, Allied soldiers entered Auschwitz and uncovered the truth of genocide. Survivors stood as witnesses to unimaginable cruelty, reminding the world that memory, justice, and vigilance are the only safeguards against such evil. On the set of Judgment at Nuremberg in 1961, Marlene Dietrich stands composed amid history's weight. Her presence bridges cinema and conscience, reminding the world that justice, memory, and responsibility endure beyond the courtroom. March 28, 1957. In Clifton, New Jersey, engineer James A. Craig demonstrates a dial-direct mobile radio telephone. Simple numbers, instant connection, quietly previewing a future where voices travel freely without operators. Vienna, 1947. A former POW walks home as a woman lifts a photograph, asking a stranger for answers. In post-war Europe, streets became places of hope and grief, where a single image carried years of waiting. The ancient mariner stands alone beneath a cursed sky, guilt heavier than the sea itself. In Doré's vision, nature becomes judgment, and the voyage turns into a haunting lesson on sin, fate, and redemption. Beneath Saqqara's shifting sands, a gold-covered sarcophagus and sealed passages emerge from deep time. Archaeologists urge caution, while others imagine hidden chambers still waiting. The stones endure. The truth unfolds slowly. Hattie McDaniel accepted her Oscar in a segregated hotel, seated apart despite making history. Barred, escorted, yet unbowed, she claimed space with dignity, turning a divided room into a milestone that honored more than one woman. During the 1930s, hobos carved buffalo nickels into tiny artworks, trading them for food or shelter. Men like Bert Wiegand turned survival into creativity, proving even a coin could carry a story beyond hunger. In 1945, over 1,000 US B-17 bombers struck Berlin in the war's largest air raid on the city. A sky-long formation thundered overhead, marking the nearing end of Nazi Germany. He was known simply as one of the people. Borreby man lived in a Neolithic Denmark, learning to stay, farm, and belong. His strength shaped land, his burial marked memory, and his life bridged movement and settlement.
Thanks for watching. If there's a forgotten era or photo you want me to bring to life, drop it in the comments. I'm listening.